Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition is originally a piano work, and it was arranged by several other famous musicians, composers, the most famous version being that of Maurice Ravel. There's also a very interesting orchestration by the great conductor Stokowski, which is quite different from the Ravel version and worth listening to. In the Ravel version, the sixth movement, or sixth picture, is entitled Samuel Goldenburg and Schmuyle. And this painting depicts two Jews, one rather rotund and one rather thin. Ravel orchestrates this in a very interesting way. This is not a true double bass soli in the sense that it's only the basses, but the basses have a very prominent role here, and it's unison string playing. Most of the other strings are written in their lower registers. The bass is actually written in as high a register as this could be written. And it's in 5 flats, which makes it difficult. And the rhythmic complexities here are what really make this excerpt difficult. I'm going to play it first without a metronome, and then follow that with a performance with the metronome, so that you can hear exactly how these rhythms are delineated in a very objective sense, because using the metronome does not allow for any leeway in tempo. Now I'll play this with the metronome. The metronome is on 65 to the 8th note. As I said, there are a lot of rhythmic complexities in this excerpt. So let's discuss what those are. The very first note is a 32nd note, followed by an 8th note. When the theme comes back later in the movement, in its lowest register, that pickup now is a 16th note. I'll demonstrate the lower register version. This is not often asked for on auditions, but sometimes it is, and it's a good idea for people to ask this version on auditions because there are some differences, and it's good to know how well someone plays this in the lower register as well as the upper register. There are a lot of places here where you have to play 3 against 2, and I'll turn the metronome on again to demonstrate one of those places. And that's it. So you have to do this da 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 dum. So da da. Very important that you be able to play that accurately. Some of the dynamic issues in this are important to talk about. The beginning starts on a B flat and goes to an F. And the logical way to do that is obviously, and that works. It works well. Most people do that. And there's nothing wrong with it. I like the sound of the G string note better. It's stronger. It's more the same tone as the F. Either way works. You have to, obviously the shift makes it a little more difficult to do it on the G string. Then this is followed by 64th notes. Now a triplet, 16th note triplet group. And that takes place within 2 eighth notes. So 1, 2. Now 16th notes. 1, 2, 3. Right here, you need to retake the bow. And that A that I just played has a dot on top of it. And that's important too, to make sure you get that articulation correct. If it didn't have a dot, it would sound like this. But because it has the dot on top of it, sixteenths, 2. That's a particularly hard note to play because it's so long. It's an up bow and it's forte. So you have to make sure you save your bow for that and really smooth that out. So now comes what's probably the hardest part of this excerpt, which is the B flat to F again. Those are 64th note triplets. Now these notes, which can also be played across the string. And then the next group. And those can also be played across the string. I like all of it on the G string. It's a little easier to negotiate. You don't have that awkward string crossing. So when you make that decision, make sure that you are doing it with a metronome on. Obviously, that time I performed that was twice as slow as it goes. In the last version that's in the lower octave, here's the fingering that I like, which is staying on the A string. As opposed to going over to the D string. You have that big color change there. Now, some people use two bows on that D flat I just played. I like using one bow. The downbeat of the next bar is a sforzando on an E. And I actually enjoy playing that with an up bow because it feels so good to dig in on that and nail it. So D string. Again, D string. And if you're really adventurous, going up the D string, it's fun, it's dangerous. It's a reason to live to play this piece.